Welcome to the Short Funk Podcast. I'm Tom Barbalet, and today a listener submitted a question. I have to apologise because I can't recall who the listener was that submitted this question. I probably should have researched that before I actually came on and started the Short Funk recording, but darn it, I'm already in the middle of it. The question related to how my work with Noble Ape had enabled me to get a job at Netflix, and it's a relatively simple story which I will account for as follows. When I first started developing Noble Ape, there were some engineers at Apple that were interested in Noble Ape, and I went and did a tour of the Apple campus in 1998. I'd already had some communication with a fellow that had offered me an internship at Apple, but he had already left by the time I got there. That was about 96, I want to say. Anyway, around that time, maybe 95 in my first year of university. These engineers at Apple championed the graphics technology at the time, which was called, I can't even remember, Psy, which was like a Greek character. I'm not sure if that actually featured in the Rushkov article, but a fellow by the name of Douglas Rushkov wrote an article about my work, which got me back to the US, but didn't get me back into Apple. The next stage of the Noble Ape Apple relationship occurs in 2003, where two engineers, Nathan Slingerland and Sanjay Patel, picked up the Noble Ape simulation because it was able to compile on all the compilers for the Mac at the time, the princely number of 3 compilers, but yet it was pretty amazing by their standards that it could compile on all 3 compilers. They championed Noble Ape. It was on every Mac that was sold, at least through to 2009, depending on who you talk to, or also obviously a group of Intel engineers picked it up and championed it through their respective teams at Intel. But what the Apple engineers did, and this was under the tutelage of a gentleman by the name of Ernie Provocar, who's since left Apple, but was an amazing evangelist for Noble Ape at Apple, was internally within teams at Apple, they would use Noble Ape for various optimizations, various tricks and techniques. Anyway, I have a LinkedIn, I don't even know what the term is, I don't know, like a written recommendation, I guess, from Ernie Provocar. And he left Apple maybe 2 years ago, so it's not quite as splendid as it once was, because LinkedIn maintains where he is now as opposed to where he was when he wrote the recommendation. I don't think he mentions Apple specifically, he just mentions that I helped them out. So anyway, I was contacted via LinkedIn associated with roles at Netflix, and in particular associated with this newly formed iOS team at Netflix 4 years ago, and the reference that Dr. Ernie gave me my job at Netflix. It said that basically I worked with Apple for about 9 years, I kept them all happy, and that within this industry is very rare. Don't want to lament too much associated with the connotations with that, but let's just say it was relatively rare, and that's how I ended up with my job at Netflix, was because of 9 years worth of changes and rewrites and keeping Apple happy for no money. I did get a friends and family discount on a computer, which I think amounted to the princely sum of about $100. So, yes, it's one of these curious things that sometimes in doing things for no money, you can actually get rewards that are far greater than anything you could possibly imagine. And that's really happened with me associated with the movement from developing Noble Ape to being at Netflix. Tom Barbalet in San Jose, signing out.